Well, good morning. Thank you very much. What a pleasure to be here with each of you. Thank you to the Chamber for inviting me, and to each of you for spending time with us today and coming out. Much appreciated. It's always a pleasure to spend some time in Yarmouth and the Tri-Counties. The air is fresh and the people are kind. I love it. So thank you so much. And this region, we live in a great province, but this region certainly represents some of the very best of Nova Scotia. You build things, you catch things, you process things, you grow things, and you export things. You truly understand something that's always been true about this province, and that is that nothing worthwhile gets built by standing still. We need to be moving forward. You understand that. It's great to see some former MLAs here, all the councillors. Appreciate your presence for sure. Thank you for being here. Thank you to the former MLAs for being here as well. But of course, thank you to my current local caucus here. You are represented by an outstanding team of MLAs. Nick Hilton, he's a hard worker, guys. Nick, give him a wave, they probably know you. The very shy and humble Nick Hilton, just like his dad. Colton LeBlanc. Colton's just such a great guy. Ryan Robichaud, doing a great job. Make sure you say hi to Ryan. And Jill Balser and Nolan as well for the team for the area. Both, two incredible people, incredible MLAs, and let me tell you, relentless advocates for this region. They are never shy about reminding me, pounding on me a little about what the community needs, and I thank them for that. Thank you for your service to the team. But because of that, because of their advocacy, because of their commitment to the community, this region is moving forward and continuing to move forward. And together as a community and with government, together we have been expanding healthcare, like the new emergency department that's happening right here in town. This is incredible. Really excited about that. We are investing in defense and looking at aerospace opportunities at the Yarmouth airport. This airport is an incredible asset for this province. I'm excited about what's possible there, and of course you don't have to go too far to see the beautiful expansion at the Mariners Center. This is truly incredible. I'm excited about that as well. But these are all investments that didn't just happen by accident. They didn't just happen by accident. They happened because Nova Scotians gave us a clear job to do. They asked us to do a clear job when they elected our government in 2021. Nobody said, we're looking for you to go around and give speeches. What Nova Scotians said is, we're looking for results. They want healthcare fixed. They want government to get things done. And that's exactly what we have been doing and what we're working towards. We try to be a government of action. I hope you see that. The job's not finished. No, of course, not even close. But is the plan that we have, the plan we're implementing for this province, is it working? Absolutely, absolutely. And today, there are more doctors practicing in Nova Scotia than ever before. This is a good thing. You got a table full of them back there. We appreciate their service. Thank you. There are more nurses, there are more training seats, there are more clinics, there is more healthcare infrastructure under construction than at any point in decades. It is happening right now. And we know there is still a lot of work that is ahead of us. But I can tell you with great confidence that we are moving as a province in the right direction. And if I stand back for a second, I have to tell you that as Premier of a province that has a $1.2 billion deficit this year, $1 billion last year, what's forecast to be $1 billion next year. This is a hard reality, but as a premier that's kind of facing that reality, I have to tell you, I'm incredibly optimistic about the future of this province. This is my optimistic face, just so you, I'm optimistic because I am confident, and I'm confident in your future as Nova Scotians, as business owners, as community leaders, and there is much to be confident about. And for starters, I would just say, just look at the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, Nova Scotians have proved something very important. And we have together proved that when we come together around a clear goal, we can solve problems that once felt impossible. And of course, I'm talking about the progress we've made in healthcare. And fixing healthcare is never a finish line. There'll probably never be a finish line. It's always going to be a primary responsibility of provincial governments. We'll always be moving towards it, and it certainly was never seen as a finish line for us and for our government. But yeah, it's okay to recognize some of the work that has happened. And together on that healthcare file, we have proven that big things are possible. There is proof in that file alone that Nova Scotians can still do big things. And that's a good thing. And now we'll continue to keep our focus on healthcare, but we are also focusing on an equally daunting task: rebuilding our economy. And we have to do it, and we will do it, because the simple reality is you can't maintain world-class services with a weak economy. The math just doesn't work. So now more than ever, we need to build an economy that protects Nova Scotians, to build an economy that protects your paycheck. We know families are under pressure. We see that. They feel it every time they go for groceries, every time they pay the mortgage, every time they open a power bill. People are working harder than ever, and they have a right to expect that they can get ahead, not fall behind. And at the same time as we focus on that, the world feels very different than it did only a few years ago. The Trump administration has thrown global trade into absolute chaos, but I refuse to let Nova Scotians pay the price for Washington's politics. And that is why we have taken action to defend our industries and to send a clear message that Nova Scotia will not be bullied. We will not. We can't control what happens in Washington, and we can't control global conflicts, but we can control how prepared Nova Scotia is. And that's my job. In fact, at the end of the day, my job is actually very clear. Protect your paycheck from forces that are beyond your control. Build an economy strong enough to reduce the pressure that families are feeling. And that's why Nova Scotia has entered a new chapter. And this is a chapter about building one of Canada's strongest economies. Nova Scotia was meant to lead. We are leaders, and that's really what I want to talk about today. And yes, of course, I'm going to talk about natural gas, but this is not really a speech about natural gas. And I'm going to talk about offshore wind, of course, but this is not really a speech about offshore wind either. And I'll even talk about mining. But it's not a speech about mining. Everything I'm going to talk about comes back to one responsibility that I feel as Premier, and that is protecting your paycheck. Because if families can't afford to live here, nothing else matters. They need to be able to afford to live here. And Nova Scotians can build extraordinary things. We can compete with anyone. And the world needs exactly what Nova Scotia has. For the first time in a very long time, The world is looking to Nova Scotia. Take defense. Nova Scotia has always played an important role in protecting Canada. It surprises a lot of people that roughly 40% of Canada's defense assets are located in Nova Scotia. Almost 40%. Thousands of Nova Scotians already work in shipbuilding, aerospace, engineering, advanced manufacturing, and defense technology. And now, as Canada is making the largest defense investments in generations, new ships, new subs, new technologies, new manufacturing, new innovations, new opportunities, as Canada is making these investments, they're turning to Nova Scotia. Why? Because we are Canada's capital of defense. And we are ready. We are ready for our companies to win contracts. We are ready to supply the tradespeople to do the work. We are ready to train more people through our universities and colleges. And now we actually see this, and I'm sure you see it too, but we see young Nova Scotians looking around and saying, I can build an incredible career without leaving home. That is an incredible moment. But it's not just in defense where things are really happening. They are really happening in defense, but that's not the only place. The world is increasingly looking for secure sources of energy. And the reality is that no successful economy has ever been built without reliable, affordable energy. Energy powers everything. Our hospitals, our schools, our manufacturers, our farms, our homes. Everything around the world depends on energy. And today, virtually every unit of natural gas that we use reaches Nova Scotia through the United States. Every unit. What we pay for energy, it depends on decisions that are made somewhere else. So when policies change in Washington, Nova Scotians pay. When the United States threatens tariffs or changes its energy policies, Nova Scotians feel that very directly. We have given someone else more control over your power bill. And that is a massive, massive vulnerability to our province. Those decisions should be made here in Nova Scotia. So protecting our energy security is one of the strongest ways to protect your paycheck. And good news, there is good news. We are sitting on enough resources to power our province. We are sitting on enough resources to stabilize costs and keep more Nova Scotian money in Nova Scotia. In fact, we have enough natural gas resources to power the entire Maritimes for decades. And this is a remarkable advantage. Others would dream to have this. We have it, and we will use it. And I know and I accept that some people have questions. They have questions about fracking. They have questions about natural gas. That's fair. And so they should. Responsible governments insist on science. Responsible governments protect the environment. And so will we. That will never change. That's part of who we are as Nova Scotians. But responsible governments also do not ignore opportunity. They examine it, they test it, and when it can be done safely and responsibly, we have to have the courage to move forward. And we have that courage because you deserve it. Because importing someone else's energy forever, that's not a strategy. But building our own future, that is. But our energy story does not end with natural gas. In many ways, natural gas is just the start. The excitement around the Wind West opportunity has the entire world looking at Nova Scotia. This is an up to $60 billion investment. Folks, our entire economy is $60 billion. This one project is potentially the size of our entire economy. And people say to me, it's a big number, 60, what does it mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means to me. It means more jobs in our shipyards. It means more jobs in manufacturing. It means more jobs in fabrication. It means more jobs in every trade and pretty much everything you can think of. It's a remarkable opportunity. It means thousands of Nova Scotians getting up every morning to build something extraordinary. That is what we are as Nova Scotians. It means better wages. It means supply chains stretching from one end of Nova Scotia to the other. And all of that means customers for your businesses. Means more opportunities for young people. And all of these things together, that's how we protect your paycheck. But I have to tell you, this is not an opportunity about simply generating power. It's an opportunity to generate prosperity. And for the first time in our history, Nova Scotia has the opportunity to become one of Canada's great energy provinces. And that is not because of one project. It is because everything is coming together at the exact right time. Onshore natural gas, offshore natural gas, oil, wind, transmission, innovation. Together, all of these opportunities tell a story. And that is a story about affordability. That is a story about energy security. It is a story about economic growth. And the companies that are looking at Nova Scotia are looking at Nova Scotia because they see opportunity. They see world-class wind resources. They see the advanced manufacturing that we have. They see a trusted trading partner, deep water ports, skilled workforce, political stability, and they have confidence in Nova Scotia. For years, it felt like the wind was in our face, always pushing us back. Now we have a chance to put that wind at our backs. And we are taking that opportunity and seizing it. And we are using this opportunity to ensure that Nova Scotia will no longer be at the very end of the energy transmission line. We will, in fact, be the starting point. And this is not just for electricity, that's the starting point for investment, for innovation, for manufacturing, for opportunity, for the next chapter of Canada's economy. And that is a future worth building. And I can tell you that the Prime Minister, and certainly the Minister Hudson, are very excited about the opportunities for Nova Scotia. It's something we can do and we should do. Also, of course, let's talk about mining. We need to talk about mining because to build affordable housing, to build hospitals, schools, transmission lines, we need raw materials. Now, we can import those raw materials from jurisdictions with weaker environmental records, or we can mine them safely and responsibly here at home. I choose here. I choose here. We should be doing those things here, but it's not just about supplying our own needs, of course. It's about supplying the world's. It's about keeping more economic benefit here in Nova Scotia. It's about creating better paychecks, creating opportunities and choice for Nova Scotians, creating customers for local businesses, creating opportunities that will allow families to stay together. And that's why over the last year, just in the last year, 12 months, we have seen the approval or restart of major mining projects in this province. The Next Gold project, the Little Narrows Gypsum, Atlantic Mining, the Antrim Gypsum project. These are not isolated announcements. More projects will follow. We are seeing investment. We are seeing companies willing to bet on Nova Scotia. We are seeing momentum. And momentum matters. Momentum is contagious. And Nova Scotia is beginning to feel it. So, yes, I'm excited about our province for many reasons, but if I'm being honest, I haven't even mentioned the biggest reason that I am confident about our province, and it has nothing to do with natural gas or offshore wind or critical minerals. The biggest reason I am confident is our people. That Blue Noser spirit. And I've spent the last number of years traveling this province. I have met business owners taking risks, young families putting down roots, tradespeople building careers, and students with big dreams. For sure, we like those students with big dreams. Volunteers holding communities together, people who work incredibly hard every single day. And as your government and as our community and business leaders, we owe it to all of those people to pursue big things. We've done it before, and we can certainly do it again. And I just use the example of Sidney Crosby, a kid from Cole Harbour who became the best hockey player in the world. And I can assure you, nobody ever told Sidney Crosby, maybe don't dream so big. We celebrate his ambition, we celebrate his discipline, we actually have come to expect his excellence, and that is the same mindset that will drive Nova Scotia to become Canada's energy leader. It's the same mindset that will make Nova Scotia one of the strongest provinces in Canada. So when I talk about protecting your paycheck, I'm really talking about protecting our future. And I'm talking about making sure our parents receive the health care they deserve. I'm talking about making sure the next generation believes they can build a life in Nova Scotia. This I see as our shared responsibility. Moments of great uncertainty, and this is a moment of great uncertainty in our world, but moments of great uncertainty often become moments of great possibility. This is such a moment, and there is no limit to what this province can become. Nova Scotia has everything it needs, and my job is to protect your paycheck, but my responsibility is much bigger than that. My responsibility is to build a province where your children earn even bigger paychecks tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And that's the Nova Scotia I believe in. That's the Nova Scotia that we are building together, and that is exactly the opportunity that we are going to seize and what we are going to make happen for Nova Scotians. We can do that together. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it, and let's go and make it happen for this province. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'd just like to say thank you very much to the Premier. Obviously, those words are very strong. I'm sure everybody listened very carefully, as I did. There's a lot to think about what you have to say there. So what I would ask now is for Carrie to be brought. Where's Carrie? Oh, there she is. Perfect. Carrie's going to be the moderator. I want you to picture that this is a fireside chat. There's a fire in the background, and they're going to have a talk. So there you go.
This is the fun part. Anybody else nervous?
We have a history. Well, you'll notice that I didn't run in the parking lot and ask you for $3 million today, did I? I should have offered to go pick you up at Speedy Auto Glass, actually. Okay, Premier. Too soon, yeah.
Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah. Your presentation paints a picture of a province that's at an important turning point. And there are challenges, but I agree there's so much opportunity ahead. Tell me what Nova Scotia looks like to you in 5 or 10 years. Just before yesterday, I was talking to an amazing retired businessman, Doug Thistle, and he knew that I was going to chat with you today. And he said, you tell him that you don't govern for now, you govern for the future. And I said, okay, I'll tell him. So what's your vision of us in 10 years?
Well, thank you for that. That's an important question because I actually always think about that. pretty deeply, maybe too deeply to be honest. And it's because I always remember when I was running to be the leader of the PC party, there was 5 people running to be leader, and campaigns are tough, right? There's lots of highs and lows in a campaign, and at a particularly low moment, I was on a phone with a friend of mine, and he said, listen, you're going to be the leader of the PC party. And to me, at that moment, it felt pretty far away. And he said, you're going to be premier too. Well, that seemed like something that was like so far. I couldn't wrap my head around that. But he said, but the question that I have is, in 20 years, is anybody going to care? And I knew what he meant. If you get the opportunity, do something. Right, so we're doing things, right? They're not, hard things are hard, right? We're doing some hard things, but we're doing those hard things because we believe in the destination. The journey's a little rocky at times, but we believe in the destination, and that's these opportunities. So I think in 10 years for sure, and this is already happening, the rest of the country will be looking at Nova Scotia for leadership on a number of files. This is already happening on internal trade barriers and breaking those down. It's already happening on healthcare too. We have healthcare challenges for sure. I definitely accept that. But the progress that we've made is causing the rest of the country to look to Nova Scotia and say, what did you do? How did you do that? You know, one of the statistics that, you know, it's often quoted, there's a number of metrics we look at in healthcare, but certainly one of the statistics we look at is the need of family practice list. You know, 6% of Nova Scotians are not attached to primary care. And I worry about that. That's 6% of the population. But on the other side, it's 6%. The national average over 20%. You know, 2 years ago we were at 15%. So 6% is something also you can say, okay, that's progress, and that momentum will continue. So I think that first off, the country will be looking to Nova Scotia. We will be restoring our place that we talk about in that video as a national leader. That's good on a number of fronts. It's good for business attraction. It's good for people attraction, migration. We need people. But I think more than anything, I believe very strongly that the confidence of Nova Scotians in their own communities will be at record highs because of the opportunities that will be there in defense and traditional industries, fishing, farming, forestry. They're always going to be a backbone of our economy, but now we're adding really powerful opportunities for careers for Nova Scotians. So that's kind of the thing that I keep going back to, like, how do people feel? There's lots to worry about in the world. Yeah. But I believe that the confidence will be incredibly high, and that'll just breed more.
I think we're already seeing a return of youth. You know, I look around at this room and see a lot of our families are coming back and gravitating back. So that's a precursor of that situation. So here in Southwest Nova, we have one of Canada's strongest fisheries. We have critical minerals. We have offshore wind potential. And we have a very strategically placed airport and growing defense opportunities. So in a sense, we kind of got it all. Is the province looking at us and putting those things in a group so we can position ourselves to be a major economic gateway? We need the infrastructure to do that. We need increase to the power grid, and we need a better port that can handle, you know, more flow. So is there kind of a lens on us of being a gateway? Yeah,
absolutely. Like this is a remarkable province from one end to the other. Like every region has unique opportunities. We don't need to compete region to region. Like we work together as a team on these things. But you're right. This region, and we talk about that airport. It's a massive asset that's underutilized, and we'll look to change that. We talk about the landings that come in through here are pretty breathtaking, and drive so much economic activity across our entire province. So, and the critical minerals opportunities are there too. So we see those. So, I think what we do is we look to work with those communities and leadership to kind of move those things forward. It's a difficult time, right? To be a leader, to be a government. Councils know that too. just the financial resources are pretty strapped. So, but I do feel we have a great partner in the federal government. I will say that. I think that that's a partnership that is working well for Nova Scotians. So we need their support on things, but we kind of look at all of these investments. Like, we're inundated with investment asks. Sometimes we have to say no. You read about some of those too in the paper, but we try to look through a lens of all of these investments. They're all important investments for communities. So we have a lens that we look through and say, well, will it drive economic activity? Can we see a tangible thing there? Does it move people? Does it move product? Because at the end of the day, we have to be able to put our hand on our heart and say, we did this over this because of these reasons, and have those reasons. But the most important thing, and what we try to always go back to, is say we like to help those who help themselves. So when we have communities pushing forward ideas that can have tangible benefit and meet all those things, it just makes it easier for us to grab onto those partnerships. So you have a lot here. Like, honestly, you have every region. Other regions are trying to figure out maybe what to do, but you guys know what to do, and we got to work together to do it. So, but we like to help those who help themselves. And
you said that to me before.
Kind of, yeah. It cost me a lot of money last time I said that to you.
Yeah, it did. So, healthcare, one of my favorite topics. I've been very passionate about doctor recruitment, and I think you were down here when you came up with your plan to recruit doctors from South Africa. I'm happy to tell you that to date that plan has worked really well for us. This program has netted us 7 physicians. Yeah, it's amazing. And even some that originally came to Halifax and preferred to be here. So it's really been a benefit. And then the spouses of those physicians also bring another talent to the area. We have new nutritionists, occupational therapy, and artists. So it's been very successful. And I want you to tell me what's your next big idea.
On healthcare?
Yeah.
So first off, yes, it was actually at an event at the airport here, where South African emergency room, emergency department doc said, hey, you can probably recruit a lot more from South Africa. And Nick Hilton said, he's telling the truth. So I said, well, but that actually opened a lot of ideas for us, and it's worked for specific recruitment, but it actually led to something bigger as well that we don't often talk about. But this PACE clinic we have in Nova Scotia, this is a physician assessment and clinical evaluation process. This is for foreign trained doctors who can, they apply to come through the PACE process, and if they pass, you got to meet the standard, but in 12 weeks or less, you can have your Nova Scotia credentials. Not years, weeks. And this is a concept that has actually won awards across North America on assimilating foreign trained and meeting the credential requirements in the process. So the first cohort went through. 5 doctors were in that cohort. 4 passed, which is probably a good indication. Not everyone should. We have to have a certain standard to meet. Now the second cohort is kind of coming through the process now. Hundreds of applications we're trying to. So PEI is saying, hey, can we buy spots? I guess essentially buy spots in that clinic. We're talking to Newfoundland. We're talking to other jurisdictions. So that's a Nova Scotia innovation that has its seeds in your community. That we're kind of working through the process that the rest of the country is looking at. And then from that and others to the app and other innovations, that's part of the thinking behind the new Accelerate Nova Scotia, where Karen Oldfield will be the CEO to push, say, we have a lot here. We shouldn't be shy about making sure that people are aware of it and we can help the rest of the country. So that's a good thing. So that's not my next one, but it's my next. It's already started, but I would say that would be my next area of focus, to really work with Nova Scotians so they understand what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is take these Nova Scotia innovations, which are leading the country, and turn them into a few bucks which then we can reinvest in our healthcare system, and it just kind of feeds itself. It's a good thing. It's a new thing. It's a new concept in the country, but it's a good thing, and Nova Scotians will benefit from it. And when we look back, we'll say, that was good. I feel confident in that.
Yeah. Another innovation is the Cape Breton Medical School. And it seems like it's going well, but that's going to put 7 third-year medical students in our community every year. So, as you know, Credit Union Place already built us, Coastal Financial Credit Union already built us a house to house physicians and resident doctors, but it's full all the time. So we've got those incoming students. So if I asked you to build us another house like that, then you'd have to build one in every community, right? So we could just put it out there that we need another one, and maybe there's someone who wants to build us one.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And that's final. That's what my dad used to say. I said maybe, and that's final.
Yeah.
No, look, it's the housing issue is real, for sure. And thank you for the kind words on that down payment program. I'm glad to hear that you have some really positive examples. That's really good. But we put a housing plan in place. I think, Colton, you were minister when you came with the first housing plan. He says it was John. You should take credit when I give it to you. But it was a 5-year housing plan, and we're a couple years into it. We've already exceeded all the targets, but the need is still there too, right? So, but yes, housing across the spectrum, affordable housing, student housing of all sorts. All of these things are important, but we're making progress, and I think we talk about the fact that the federal government is looking to us for, like, they have confidence to invest in Nova Scotia. And what are their main concerns? That people can have access to healthcare, so they have confidence in what we're doing. That people can have housing, so they have confidence in what we're doing there. That there'll be the people, that the people will exist. So the changes we made to the apprenticeship program, and we had a goal for, I think it was 5,000 new apprentices in 2026. We're already at almost 9,000. Right? So all these little things, they take time. But that's why I do believe that the plan is working in many of these aspects.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Okay, I'll take maybe. Maybe's worked before. You've seen our new Credit Union Recplex campus that we're building, and we're going to do a little tour there later of the new building. It's amazing. That's an example of all 3 of our municipal governments working together and working very well together. We're seeing collaboration between the province and the federal government that we haven't seen before. It's really looking good. How important is that collaboration between the 3 levels of government to make all of these projects work?
Oh, I can't even, like, it's so important. And like, so a number of these plans that we had put in place that we've been working toward we were looking for a federal partner, and it was, how am I going to say this? It was very difficult under the former Prime Minister to work with the federal government. But Prime Minister Carney has, the way I see it with Prime Minister Carney is, I say it's easier for governments to get along. We're just trying to govern. He's just trying to govern. We're trying to go. It's easier for governments to get along than it is for political parties to get along. Okay. Right. So, he has the same approach. I had an interesting chat with him when he was in Halifax last time for a breakfast thing. He had the legislature was still sitting, so he had I think he had 1,200 people for the breakfast. I met with him afterwards, and I said, Prime Minister, that's a pretty big crowd. Like, people are engaged and they're interested. I said, but by the way, I'll have 2,000 people at the legislature this afternoon, so I can still draw a bigger crowd. So, anyways, but they were there for different reasons, I guess. But the chat I had with him, I said, like, it's still, my thing is more faster, right? And I believe that through my background and business and the team that we have, the quality of the team, that I can make 99 decisions in the time somebody else might make 5. But if you make 99 decisions in the time somebody else might make 5, you have to accept that they're not going to all be perfect. then you have to have the courage to say, we got that one wrong, right? So we've done that a lot as well, maybe too much, but I said to the Prime Minister, I said, you want to go fast, I want to go fast, but we both have to accept the reality that there is still something called the pace of government. And he said, I'm learning that. But I will say that I like his sense of urgency, because we share that sense of urgency. That submarine procurement, that's not even supposed to be decided for like 5 more years. And in 1 year, they decided on what they should be asking for. They put the procurement out, and awarded it. So I like that sense of urgency. So we share that, and I think he's pushing that through his own government. We're trying to continue it through ours, and I think that's why I say the time is right. The time is right. The partnership is there, and the need is there.
Yeah.
And we can respond.
So you grew up in Halifax for part of your life, and so did I. I've been here 20 years. You've been in a rural area for equally as long. How can we make sure that all of those big projects and that development isn't centered in the city and the 100 kilometers surrounding it? How can we make sure that Pictou, Cape Breton, and Yarmouth are all benefiting?
Yeah, it's a risk, it's the challenge, because the normal gravitation is to the center. But you mentioned the youth, the optimism of the youth. That's a really positive thing, because it's all people driven, and having the right people. So when we have more young people in our rural communities, that's a big asset. But also not being afraid to recognize and push on, like, the ports. Massive opportunities. The airport, you'll say it again. But so we, but no matter what happens, the size of the we're a big province. We're 1 million people, but we're 1 million people, and it's a big country. So we're still the size that these opportunities, the sheer size of them, creates supply chain needs across the province, and the investors will look to spread out, because they'll have to for their own business reasons. So we should just be ready to show what we can do across there. But it is a challenge. We try to remind. I grew up in the city, but I live in the rural areas. My kids are raised in the rural areas, so I can kind of see both. I have both of that as well. But there's opportunity for everyone. There really is. Yeah.
Got a few quick snappers for you. What's the best thing about being Premier?
The best thing about being obviously, you got all the cliche ones, like the people and the being around, but they're all true. Like being around the people is incredibly rewarding. I put a lot into being Premier, because I get a lot out. The more you put in, the more you get out. But I think the absolute best thing about being Premier is the real opportunity to get things done. And that is what really kind of, I know that at some point I'm not going to be Premier. And then I'll have the rest of my life, and I don't want to spend that portion saying, you were right there. You could have did something about that, right? So we do things, but that is the best thing, is the real opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people. And that's kind of what we push towards.
What's the thing you miss most about civilian life?
Well, I noticed the CBC back there, so I'm not going to give I'll have to, but I think it's, there's two sides to a coin, right? It's good when people recognize you everywhere you go, including outside of Nova Scotia, but sometimes it creates some challenges. But I think there's more good than bad. Let me say that. So I would just say there's more good than bad, and I see this great privilege that I have, and I feel this responsibility, and that's just what pushes me forward. Days like yesterday weren't the highlight, but today, so far,
good day.
Sunshine, and then the air is fresh, so it's good.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream this year?
It's like I have a sweet tooth, so I eat a lot of sweets for sure. I eat a lot of ice cream, but I got to go with that black raspberry cheesecake, and if you can make that into a milkshake, it's over the top.
Good. And what's better, sunrise or sunset?
I'm not necessarily an early morning person, so I enjoy a good sunset.
Last question. Who are your three favorite MLAs?
Wow. Oh, in order. Like, I am so blessed with the caucus that we have. 43-member caucus from the entire province, different backgrounds, different perspectives. We can have some really frank discussions about what decisions mean to people, and we can know that everyone's coming from a good place and with a perspective. You know, different career, they live in a different province. So I love all of them. But man, Nick, Colton, and Ryan, those guys are the best, man.
Thanks, Premier.